Another SWTOR live stream. At least this one wasn't cringe.
Pew, 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 pew. Pew, pew.
Love it.
Pew, pew.
But look how cute they are.
Pew, pew.
You know, I keep saying I'm not going to farm negativity, but so it's been about 2 weeks since the dev live stream, so I know I'm late for this, but I needed to take time to chew on it, and plus having a day job makes everything really difficult. So this dev update is supposed to be stuff that's coming in the new 7.7 update. And I have to say, this time I wasn't really mad or disappointed, but I was feeling something else, and I'll get to that at the very end. So consider this a review of the live stream, but also making sure that everyone knows the important information. And I really am going to start with just the really one negative thing that I didn't like about the live stream. The combat and movement stuff didn't need to be part of the live stream. That could have been a blog post that only the people that super care about it are going to read. I just didn't think it was necessary to have as part of the live stream. We're here for content, not for nuts and bolts. At the time of the live stream, the story wasn't done, and that's really all they mentioned, but apparently they've announced that it's ready and it will be launching on the 30th with 7.7. What they talked about in the live stream is everything that they plan on answering and covering in the 7.7 story update, and it was a lot of stuff, and I really hope that it's more than an hour long worth of content, because that is a lot of stuff to cover. They also had a tiny bit of a teaser for what we all knew, or at least the lore people knew, was a Ricotta mine trap in the trailer, and teasing that someone's in there. If you know anything about the mine trap, the first time it appeared was in Knights of the Old Republic 1, and it's a side quest that not a lot of people knew about. You had to talk to the right person on Korriban, and you had to go deliver it somewhere else. But when you open it up in Knights of the Old Republic 1, there is a Ricotta that's been trapped in the mine prison, and you have to solve his riddles, and if you don't, you get stuck in there and you have to start over again. Basically, you die. So in this teaser, they're basically saying that this Ricotta mine prison has someone in it that is integral to the story. I'm going to go on a limb and say Darth Null is in there. I think Darth Null's holocron is mostly just a plot device, the thing that we're going after, but I think the Ricotta mine prison is going to have actual Darth Null inside of it. I hope I'm wrong, because that's really predictable. Nar Shaddaa Nightlife is coming back in 7.7. They talked about a bunch of the new rewards that are going to be coming from the max bet machines, a couple mounts and stuff like that, and also a new helmet that looks like a disco fishbowl. It makes it look like Mr. Freeze from Batman. That's literally what I'm calling it. I'm calling it the Mr. Freeze helmet. They also talked about the XR3 Annihilation Machine Master Mode, and as well as the loot that's going to be associated with it. The loot that's going to be associated with it is augment stuff, and I have to say, I'm out of my depth when it comes to augments. I've never actually touched them in my entire time playing the game, mostly because I just really didn't get it. And if someone wants to educate me in the comments, I'm right there with you. I actually had a friend in the live stream in my chat telling me about it when I actually reacted to it live on my own stream. And I have to say a few things about it, but I really don't want to talk about it if I don't really understand what the augments are and why they're so important. In all honesty, it took them long enough to add in the master mode. I know a lot of people were requesting nightmare mode, which I think nightmare is above master mode, but the PvE community in this game has been ignored for like the longest time, and having more group content, especially harder versions of that group content, is always welcome. I was really disappointed that the only real reward that we were going to be getting from it was going to be the schematic for the augments, as well as materials for the augments. I really wish that they would go back to putting more meaningful rewards into the operations. I would love to have a lot better armor to chase. I would love to have something specific in the raid to chase that's super rare, that you have to grind your freaking face off to get. I just want more of that. I want more of the chase. That would actually be worth earning my subscription to the game. That's just my opinion. So this next part was actually my favorite part of the stream. They're adding dynamic encounters to more planets, mainly the starter planets and like the capital planets. So, you know, Tython, Ord Mantell, Hutta, Korriban, Drummond Koss, and Korriban. Oh, and Ilum. I forgot Ilum. They're actually adding stuff to Ilum, which that's a big deal because there hasn't been anything on Ilum like ever. The only thing that ever really shows up on Ilum is the Gree event, and the other half of the planet is completely unused because it used to be for world PvP, but no one world PvPs anymore. So having something new to do on Ilum is great. And dynamic encounters are seriously one of my favorite things about the game because it makes the world feel alive again. The great thing about dynamic encounters is that it gets more people out into the world to do quests, and it just great to see players running around. That is, as long as you're on a populated server with people who actually play. The loot you're going to be able to get from the dynamic encounters are actually pretty good too. You're going to actually be able to get specific starter mounts for the planets. So like Hutta gets one, Coruscant gets one, Drummonkosk gets one, and Ord Mantell gets one. So you're actually going to be able to earn those from the dynamic encounters, as well as they're adding a bunch of decorations to the loot pool for dynamic encounters on those planets, on the new 7 planets that are getting dynamic encounters. I think that that's great, but I can't tell if these decorations are actually reprisals from stuff that was removed from the Cartel Market. If someone else recognizes them, I couldn't tell if they were. I tried to look them up and see if there was stuff that was removed, but I couldn't find anything. And there's also going to be a Killick larva pet that you can get. Little ugly thing. They've also made some minor improvements to the world map that's going to allow you to select your quick travel points from the map instead of having to be able to click on the map and locate them and look around, which I'm not against that. That actually is a really good improvement. I just wish that they would stop removing the sense of adventure from the game. The map update was actually in conjunction with what they were talking about with their new eras that they're adding to the mission log. Eras is basically their new onboarding for new players, as well as a way to track what you're actually going to be doing after the level 1 to 50 grind. You'll be able to tell what expansions are coming next, the next step in the story, as well as, you know, the interludes and stuff like that. For example, the Shadow of Revan prelude, because a lot of people don't even know where to start that because their mission log is full of a bunch of these purple icons and stuff like that, and people don't realize that you need to do the Shadow of Revan prelude to figure out what's going on before you jump into Shadow of Revan proper. So I think that's a good change. Although I think they kind of missed the mark to what they really could have done with eras. I was really hoping that they would add sort of like a chapter pick through for the original 8 origin stories. Almost like in Knights of the Eternal Throne and in Knights of the Fallen Empire, how you have chapters that you can choose from to play through. I was really hoping that we would be getting something like that with eras when they first mentioned it on the live stream. There's a lot of parts in the original 8 storylines that a lot of people love to go back and play. And not only that, I'm sorry, I want to go back and get footage of some of this stuff because it's just great for content, and it's a really good way to get more replay value out of it, because a lot of people will remake characters and then want to go back and get footage of them in like iconic moments. And I think that's something that this game is really there's a new PvP season with some rewards. Hooray for PvP. Yeah. And of course, everyone's favorite thing that they always bring out, more Cartel Market items. There's a bunch of new outfits that are coming out that are going to be taken and inspired by Andor that just started season 2 this month, as well as the biggest thing that they're adding is a massive Nar Shaddaa Nightlife decoration pack. I can't wait to see how much that thing's going to cost, but at the very least, there are a bunch of more decorations, including some stuff that we actually haven't had before, and some of them is just bundled stuff that we've already had in the game, I think. As far as I can tell, some of them are actually items that you actually had to buy separately, but this pack is like a bigger pack of all of them. This next part, I know there's a lot of people that are upset about these changes, and I'm happy that they're working on these, and that is character modernization. Every single time they have a live stream, they always talk about how they're still working on it. I can tell that this was like a real sticking point for a lot of people, because even in my comment section, people have talked about how they left the game after the modernization took place because it really messed up their characters. Here's the good news, you guys. They're still updating it and they're still working on it. And a lot of the changes are positive. They made a lot of changes to the defining of facial features. In other words, like the wrinkles and stuff on the face, which was like the big thing that people hated. Basically, the software they were working with was basically doing all of the automatic smoothing of the skin and stuff like that and bringing out the wrinkles. And they just kind of launched that and went with it. But what they're doing now is shifting from just programmatic changes to actually giving the visual artists the ability to work on it, smooth things out, and make it look better. And the work in progress stuff that they showed on the stream actually looks really good. Like the example they gave was Mako, and Mako with the character modernization stuff made her look like old. But with a lot of the smoothing and stuff they did, it looks a lot better. And for all you Chiss players, I know there were some of you who saw that your characters were changed, especially the textures and stuff like that. They've gone back and fixed a lot of them, especially the skin that looked like really moldy and gross. They talked about it in a live stream before that a lot of the textures that the Chiss have are shared between humans and Chiss. So they really updated the human models, and that have had effects on the Chiss models. And guys, this is just how game design works. When you have a race that shares a lot of same physical features, you really just use the same textures and tweak a few things. And that way you don't do double the work for less payoff. And a lot of people view it as lazy, and a lot of people view it as, you know, them not taking pride in their work. But truth be told, that's not what it is at all. As someone who's worked on like games before, that's just what they do. For example, everyone knows that the bushes in Super Mario World are just a reskin of the clouds. So it's very much a very similar principle when you're doing text and stuff like that. So in the live stream, they talked about how they were removing a lot of the linking they have between the humans and the Chiss textures, allowing them to do more stuff with the Chiss and revert it back to what they were looking like before. The other thing they talked about in the modernization was changing the way the lighting works in the preview windows and like the customization windows in game, as well as the character portraits. They're basically making sure that the lighting matches so that you don't preview a die or a piece of armor and it looks good in the character preview window, but it looks bad in the world, and vice versa. And the one final announcement they made that was a surprise to everyone, they added a bunch of new colored skins for the alien races. And the good thing about it is it's free. You're just going to be able to customize the races if you already had them. I add them all up and it's 475 different colors for each race. I'll put the chart that they showed on the live stream up so that you guys can see how many different colors each race is getting. It's quite a bit. And I have to say, since this is basically a space Barbie simulator to begin with, at least they're giving people more options for the colors of their alien character's skin. So, my final thoughts on the live stream. You know, at this point when it comes to Star Wars: The Old Republic, I'm pretty, I guess, apathetic. Don't hate the game. I'm upset in the direction that it's going because I feel like the devs are really not putting in as much effort and passion as I think they could be. And that hurts because I love the game. But I can't just keep coming at it from the aspect of the game's not what I want, which, I mean, that's not really my entire perspective. My entire perspective is I want the game to be better for everyone, not just I want the game to be good for me. I think really my final thoughts have just come down. This live stream was a live stream, and they gave some good information for what the game is and for the people that are still playing the game, but I can't give as much of my energy to this game that I want to. I used to be very passionate about the game, and I'm just not there anymore. This live stream was what it was. It was good information for the people that are sticking around for the game, and it feels like the people that are there give it a little bit of passion, but they're not giving it as much passion as I think they should be. So was the live stream bad? No, it was what it was. And I'm fine with an okay live stream. That doesn't mean I'm completely giving up though. Oh, trust me, I'm not. I've got a couple SWTOR videos I'm working on that's going to make that very clear. All right, everyone, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and tell me what you guys thought about the live stream in the comments, and let me know what things about the live stream that stood out to you that you're most excited for. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more SWTOR news and updates. Remember, never trust a hut, always save the blue Twi'leks, Retortia me, and may the Force serve you well.